Humanity finally built the perfect city. And then millions of people decided to leave it. He lived in the safest, smartest city ever created. Yet every morning, he dreamed of escaping. His home could predict every need, except the one thing an elderly Caucasian man truly wanted. One world had everything humanity ever invented. The other had everything humanity had forgotten. Technology solved almost every problem, except the emptiness inside the human heart. For the first time in years, he chose silence over convenience. He wasn't running away from technology. He was searching for something it could never build. The farther he walked from civilization, the more alive he began to feel. Nobody forced them to leave. They simply remembered where they truly belonged. In the year 2100, the greatest luxury on Earth was no longer technology. It was waking up to the sound of birds.
By 2100, traffic jams had become nothing more than a forgotten memory.
In this city, illness was often discovered long before anyone felt pain. Every meal was perfectly designed, yet perfection slowly became ordinary. The city delivered everything its people needed before they even asked. The buildings themselves had learned how to care for the people living inside them. For the first time in history, civilization had more clean energy than it could possibly use. Knowledge had never been easier to access, yet wisdom remained impossible to automate.
Even nature had found a place inside humanity's greatest city.
The city never slept, because its intelligence never stopped thinking. The city had finally become perfect, but perfection was no longer enough. For the first time in history, people had everything they wanted, yet many no longer knew what they truly needed. People could see more information than ever before, but less of the world around them. When machines learned to solve every problem, many people began wondering what was left for them to solve. People could experience nature perfectly, without ever touching the earth beneath their feet. Technology connected every language, but many people still felt disconnected from one another. He realized he couldn't remember the last time he had truly seen the stars. The closer technology came to recreating nature, the fewer people visited the real thing. The data revealed something unexpected. The more advanced civilization became, the stronger humanity longed for nature. At that moment, he understood that what he missed wasn't comfort. It was belonging. The problem was never technology. It was forgetting how to live without it. History remembers the people who built great cities, but few remember those who quietly walked away from them. While millions rushed toward the future, a few quietly returned to something much older.
At first, people believed it was only a passing trend, until millions began following the same path.
At first, people believed it was only a passing trend, until millions began following the same path. Every kilometer away from the city felt less like an escape, and more like a return.
This wasn't a village built against technology. It was built around nature. No one asked what career he had left behind, only whether he wanted to join them for dinner.
That night, the brightest screen above him contained billions of stars. For the first time in years, nothing woke him except the earth itself. Soon, this was no longer one man's decision. It became humanity's quietest revolution. Soon, this was no longer one man's decision. It became humanity's quietest revolution. Humanity did not abandon the future. It simply chose a different path toward it. There were no notifications waiting for him, only the sound of another sunrise.
For the first time in years, he understood exactly where his water came from. Food tasted different because every meal carried the story of the people who grew it. The city had taught him how to operate machines. The forest began teaching him how to grow life. Creating something with his own hands brought a satisfaction no machine had ever given him. Their playground wasn't designed by engineers. It had been growing for millions of years.
Silence was no longer empty. It was filled with life. People stopped sharing moments online because they had begun living them again. Humanity discovered that living closer to nature didn't mean abandoning progress. It meant redefining it. He had not escaped civilization. He had finally found the rhythm that civilization had forgotten.
The first lesson was simple. Don't build against the forest. Build with it. In this place, every piece of wood carried the story of the forest that gave it. His first home in nature wasn't built by contractors. It was built by a community.
A house became a home. The future wasn't about rejecting technology. It was about making it almost invisible.
Their farms no longer replaced forests. They became forests. Food became more valuable because everyone understood the effort behind every meal.
For the first time in centuries, people stopped asking how nature could serve them and began asking how they could serve nature. The greatest construction project of the 22nd century wasn't another city. It was bringing the earth back to life. Humanity finally realized that the most advanced home on earth was the one that allowed nature to remain the architect. For the first time in many years, he stopped measuring life by deadlines and started measuring it by seasons. Abundance was no longer about buying more. It was about preparing wisely. Instead of replacing broken things, people learned to repair them, and in doing so, they repaired something within themselves. They no longer looked at digital screens before sleeping. They looked at the universe itself.
The calendar hanging on the wall no longer mattered. Nature announced every new chapter itself. They had not abandoned knowledge. They had simply chosen a different purpose for it. The smartest technology became the technology you hardly noticed at all. The city had not changed. He had.
Only after returning to the city did he truly understand where home had become. Perhaps the greatest luxury of the future was having enough time to notice the changing seasons once again. 100 years earlier, people measured wealth by what they owned. Now they measured it by how they lived. Time had become the rarest currency, and for the first time, he finally had enough.
The richest people in the valley were often those who owned the least, but shared the most.
They discovered that the most memorable meals were never the most expensive. They were the ones shared together. Some views cannot be downloaded. They must be earned, one step at a time. Technology still served humanity, but it no longer demanded humanity's attention. Progress did not stop. It simply found a quieter place to continue. The greatest sign of success wasn't taller buildings. It was the return of wild animals. The future no longer belonged to one kind of civilization. It belonged to many. In the end, the wealthiest people on Earth were those who could still hear the wind through the trees. These children would become the first generation to know every bird in the forest before learning the latest software update. Nature became their first teacher, and curiosity became their greatest technology. The next generation learned that the smartest machines were the ones helping the wild remain wild. Their greatest holiday wasn't celebrating what they had built, but what nature had restored. One generation escaped the noise. The next never had to. History would remember this as the moment humanity stopped conquering nature and started becoming part of it again. The greatest engineering project in human history wasn't building more cities. It was helping the Earth heal. The evidence was undeniable. Humanity flourished most when the planet flourished with it. The future was never a choice between nature and technology. It was learning where each truly belonged. The forests they planted would outlive them, and that was exactly the legacy they hoped to leave behind.
Humanity never abandoned technology. It finally learned where technology belonged. The most advanced machines on Earth no longer built cities. They helped forests grow.
Roads once divided the natural world. Now they helped reconnect it.
People no longer asked which world was better, because both had become part of the same future.
He once searched for a better future and discovered it growing quietly beneath his feet. The greatest monuments of the future were no longer built from steel. They were grown from seeds. Perhaps this was what progress had always been trying to become. Civilization did not complete its journey by conquering the Earth, but by learning to live with it. The future would belong to those who planted trees, whose shade they would never live to enjoy. For centuries, humanity believed the future would be built from faster machines, taller cities, and smarter technology.